Hello everyone, I'm Teacher Neth and welcome back to our general math class. The economy's heartbeat is made up of stocks and bonds. Without stocks and bonds, much of the world's business activity would be impossible. Stocks and bonds are certificates that are offered in order to raise funds for the startup or expansion of a business. Stocks and bonds are also referred to as securities, and those who purchase them are referred to as investors. Let us define first some terms you will encounter in this lesson. Stock is an equity investment that allows investors to hold a share in a company's ownership. Bond is a debt instrument that allows borrowing money from investors. It is an interest-bearing instrument that promises to pay, first, a fixed amount on maturity, and second, recurring interest payments. The table beside me presents how these two types of investments differ. So on the first column, we have the basis for comparison. Then second column, we have the stocks, and third, for bonds. First basis for comparison is for the issuers. Issuers in stocks are called as corporates, and then issuers in bonds are government and financial institutions, companies, and others. Second basis is for the status of holders. Stockholders are considered as owners of the company, while bondholders are considered as lenders in the company. How about for forms of returns? In stocks, the company's profit are delivered in the form of dividends, while in bonds, payments of interest are made in the form of coupons. How about for the risk level? In stocks, risk is high because it depends on the issuer's performance. Returns are not guaranteed, but it has possibility of higher returns. While in bonds, risk is relatively low because bondholders are prioritized for repayments. However, it has lower yield. How about the major risks associated with stocks? We have the market risk and business risk. How about in bonds? We have the interest rate risk and inflation risk. How about for the additional benefits? Stockholders are granted the right to vote, while bondholders are given priority in repayment and liquidation. How about in terms of market value? The market stock value rises when interest rates fall significantly, while the market value of an existing bond rises when interest rates in the market fall. Let us focus first on stocks. Let us define some other terms related to stocks. Dividend is the portion or share in the company's profit. Dividend per share is the dividends divided by the number of shares. Stock market is a location where stocks can be bought and sold. The Philippine Stock Exchange governs the country's stock market, PSE. Stock exchange governs the country's stock market, as I have mentioned earlier, PSE. Market value is the current price at which a stock can be sold. Stock yield ratio is the annual dividend per share divided by the market value per share. It is also termed as current stock yield. Par value is the per share amount listed on the company certificate. It is defined by the company and is stable over time, unlike market value. The stock value must be computed in order to determine if the stock market value is cheap or costly at any given time. So let us apply what we have learned in some examples. Example 1. For common stocks, a financial institution issued a 10,000 pesos dividend. How much is the dividend per share if there are 10,000 shares of common stocks? So dividend per share is total dividend over total shares. So by substitution, there are 10,000 or the total dividend is 10 million pesos and then there are 10,000 shares. Okay? Dividing them will get 1,000 pesos. That's the dividend per share. Okay. Next example. On a stock having a par value of 700 pesos, a specific business issued a 2.5% dividend. Glenda has 90 shares of stocks with a par value of 700 pesos each. What was the amount of the dividend she received? So for the solution, dividend is equivalent to the product of dividend percentage, par value, and number of shares. So by substitution, we have 0.025 as a dividend percentage, and then 700 pesos as the par value, and 90 shares. Okay? So multiplying these three, we'll get the dividend which amounts to 1,575 pesos. Next example. Corporation X pays a dividend of 7 pesos per share of common stock with a current market value of 43 pesos. Corporation Y pays a dividend of 10 pesos per share. Based on its current market value of 71 pesos. Use the stock yield ratio to calculate the amount of dividends received by shareholders in relation to the amount invested. Okay, so these are our solutions. First, for Corporation X, stock yield ratio is derived by this formula, dividend per share divided by market value. So by substitution, our dividend per share for Corporation X is 7 and the market value is 43. So 7 divided by 43 is 0.1628, or when expressed in percent, that's 16.28%. How about for Corporation Y? So we will still be using the same formula for stock yield ratio, and by substitution we have 10 divided by 71, and that results to 0.1408. In percent, that is 14.08%. The stock yield ratio of Corporation X is higher. As a result, if you invest in Corporation X, each peso will reward you more. If all the other factors are equal, it is preferable to invest in this company. Okay, I guess you are now ready to talk about bonds this time. So next, we define some other terms related to bonds. Coupon is a periodic interest payment received by the bondholder between the purchase date and the maturity date, usually semi-annually. Coupon rate, or small letter r, is the rate for each payment period of a coupon. Price of a bond, P, is the bond's price at the time of acquisition. Par value, or face value, F, is the amount due at the end of the term. If P, or price of a bond, is equal to F, or par value or face value, then the bond is purchased at par. If P, or price of a bond, is less than F, or par value or face value, then the bond is purchased at discount. If P, or price of a bond, is greater than F, or par value or face value, then the bond is purchased at premium. Term of a bond is a set period of time in years during which the bond is redeemable, as stated on the bond certificate, the number of years between the time of purchase to the maturity date. Fair price of a bond is the present value of the bondholder's cash inflows. Now, let us have some examples. Example 4. Calculate the amount of the semi-annual coupon for a bond having a face value of 250,000 pesos. The coupon rate is 9%, payable every 6 months. So for the annual coupon amount, we have 250,000 times 0.09. So that is 22,500. Okay. Now to get the semi-annual coupon amount, that 22,500 will be multiplied by 1/2, or will simply be divided by 2, and you'll get 11,250. Therefore, the amount of semi-annual coupon is 11,250 pesos. Next example. Consider a bond with a face value of 150 pesos and a maturity date of 12 years. The coupon rate is 4% and is paid out semi-annually. Determine the bond's fair price assuming a 3% annual market rate. For our solution, annual coupon amount is 150,000 times 0.04 that's 6,000. And then for semi-annual coupon amount, 6,000 will be divided by 2 or multiplied by 1/2, and that's 3,000. At t equals 12, the bondholder receives 24 payments of 3,000 pesos each for a total of 150,000 pesos. Now, to solve for the present value of this 150,000 pesos, we need to use the formula we have learned before in our previous video lessons. We have F or P equals F over 1 plus J to the N. By substitution, we have 150,000 divided by the quantity 1 plus our J as given in the problem is 0.03. Close parenthesis raised to the 12th power as our N. Okay, that's derived from M times T. And then by solving, the value or the present value is of 150,000 pesos is 105,206 pesos and 98 centavos. So the present value of 24 payments of 3,000 pesos each. Okay, to solve for the present value of 24 payments of 3,000 peso each, first convert 3% to its equivalent semi-annual rate. Okay. So, how do we convert it into semi-annual rate? So, we have quantity 1 plus 0.03 raised to the first power is equivalent to quantity 1 plus I squared over 2 for the semi-annual rate. Close parenthesis raised to the second power. Okay. Because the given is in terms of M equals 1. So, we are to convert it using semi-annual rate. Okay. By manipulating the operations, we have I squared over 2 equals 0.014889. So, that came from, first, we get the square roots of both sides of the first equation. And then, using APE, we subtracted 1 from both sides. Okay. And then, using this formula, we have for present value involving annuity. If you have some confusions on this, you may refer to one of our previous video lessons on annuity. So, by substitution, we have R, 3,000, J, the value we just have computed. And then for N, as we have mentioned earlier, it's equivalent to 24 since we have 24 payments. And then using our calculator, we have T equals 60,168 pesos and 75 centavos. So therefore, the price is equal to 105,206.98 plus 60,168.75, and that is equivalent to 165,375.73. Therefore, assuming a 3% annual market rate, the price of 165,375 pesos and 73 centavos is equal to all future payments. So I hope you have gained knowledge and you are now ready to solve more problems involving stocks and bonds. Until next time!